This video is going to save you guys a hell of a lot of time and save a hell of a lot of lives, as always, but this one's a special one. So before we even get going, and I've never asked you to do this, hit the subscribe button. Okay, this one is about eating out. Now I've made a list of a couple of things. If you're wondering, I'm not scripting, I never do, never will. Right, made a list of a couple of things when eating out on what matters and what doesn't. So we're going to go down the list one by one. Butter. So let's talk about butter. When you go out, people, the chefs, they put butter in your potatoes, mashed potatoes mainly, and you don't know how much is in there. Does it really matter how much is in there? Now here's the thing. Butter is obviously made of fat. Well, if you want to talk about what macro is, it's fat and a little bit of protein. Little bit of sugars as well sometimes. Sometimes there's a few bits of salt in there as well. That's all it is. How much butter? Now remember, this is just for guys for longevity. We're not talking about bodybuilders here. How much butter will derail your progress? You would probably have to eat a whole bar of butter. You know, like a whole soap bar. You'd literally have to eat one of those every single meal to derail your progress. When they put butter on your steak, how much do they use? A tiny little bit. When they put butter on some bread, how much are they going to use? How much butter do chefs actually use? Go there and ask them. The maximum amount of butter that they could ever use is not going to derail your progress, no matter what diet you're on. Now, just before I start saying anybody, remember longevity, not bodybuilding. Put bodybuilding aside. Powerlifter, strongman, okay, you guys enjoy the butter as much as you need, I know that. But for the longevity guys, for the normal guys like me who just want to be sub 10% body fat all year round, look good, eat healthy, does butter really matter? No. That's number one. Number two, oils. Okay, so there's two types of oils. What is your food cooked in? Before we get into the fried section, we're going to go into the shallow fried section. So shallow fry is basically steak. What are they greasing the pan with? Do they grease the pan with butter? Some use butter, some use oil. What does it really matter? If they shallow fry it in as much oil as possible, in the worst oil possible, reusable oil that's been sat there for months even, does it really matter in the long run? I have prided myself on eating out every single meal for the past 7-8 years. All over the world, everywhere I go, I do regular blood work. I am on TRT. I do my cardio, I eat healthy most of the time. And when I mean I eat healthy, it's I will go to a restaurant like today and I will get a chicken, grilled chicken with plenty of butter on top. I won't ask them how it's cooked. I won't ask them how much oil they used in the pan to make sure the chicken didn't stick to the pan. Was it a George Foreman? Was it coconut oil? Was it macadamia nut oil? Was it whatever other olive oils that people use now? Does it really matter? No. Now, if you want to talk about salads as well, let's talk about salads. I don't really eat salads, but let's talk about salads. When you put oil in salads, how much are you going to put? How much olive oil are you going to put on a salad? And how much salad are you going to eat? Let's say you drench your salad with olive oil, or any oil for that matter. Does it make much of a difference? No. If you know what you're doing and you're on the right diet and you have a good coach guiding you for everything else, you can have as much oil as you need on salads. Like I said, you can drink the oil if you want to drink the oil. So does oil matter in foods? When you're out and about in restaurants, you need to ask them how much they're using? No. Okay, that's number two out of the way. Number three, seasoning. Seasonings, right. Okay, let's talk about seasonings. So sometimes you go to a Mexican, you might go to an Indian, you might go here and there. And I'm not talking about the sauce of stuff yet, we're going to just talk about seasoning. What kind of seasonings is there out there that's going to derail your progress? I can't think of any. What do they use? A bit of Cajun seasoning, a little bit of turmeric, what is it? Chili powder, chili flakes, oregano, parsley. I don't know what kind of stuff they put on fish. There's so many different seasonings out there. To this day, I have not seen any food that has been that heavily seasoned that's going to derail your progress. So there's another one. Just a myth. BS doesn't mean anything. If you're at home cooking, you know what I say to my clients: use as much seasoning as you need. As much seasoning as you need. And I always say to my clients, send me a picture when they have the stuff. Send me a picture. To this day, no one's used too much seasoning. You know why? Because you can't use too much seasoning. It's impossible. Next one. Salts. Now, salts, obviously, bit of a tricky one here. Okay. When you talk about salt, and you put salt in the food. Some people don't like a lot of salt in the food, like me. I'm not big on salt. I don't like if the food tastes too salty. And I'm pretty sure that's the same for everybody. When we eat food, we don't want it too salty. Now, I will say this. When I'm in the UK and often I go for a curry, they use a lot of salt. How do I know that? Because after I finish eating that curry, I always go home and I'm always really thirsty that day. Now, I don't know the relationship between the salt and thirst. I do and I don't, but I'm not going to get into too much of it. When you have a lot of salt, you tend to get very thirsty, like I am right now. So, salt. Have as much as you want to a degree where it tastes okay. Anyone who's using way too much salt in their food is either too fat because they can't taste it, because as you get fat, your tongue gets a little bit thick, and the more thicker your tongue gets, the more salt you need to just taste a little bit of salt. You know, fat people, really, really fat people, they'll need to eat a lot of sugar just to taste the sugar. So often fat people will put loads of sugar on everything and say, I can't taste the sugar, because they need a lot of sugar to penetrate their palate. And same with salt. So be very mindful of salt. Check your blood pressure, that's a good indication for salt. But just make sure that it's not, drenched in salt. It's fine, there's no issue. But if you use a little bit of salt and pepper with plenty of seasoning, you'll be fine. There's never too much. And often, pretty much everyone on the planet will agree there is an amount of salt that you can say is too much. You have some food and you think that's been oversalted. And it will spoil the dish, it will spoil the food, it will spoil the chicken, it will spoil the steak, it will spoil everything. I mean, you've seen the Nusrat videos with the guy throwing salt. I've been there as well. What? How much salt is he putting? A little bit? Who cares? Add a little bit more. Doesn't make much of a difference. Salt's good for you. It hydrates you, or at least holds the hydration. So your body is very clever with salt. Use it wisely. If you are going to use a salt a lot, then use the pink Himalayan stuff that comes from Pakistan. That's what you want to use. Okay, so that salt's out of the way. So the next is coating. Now, coating is something that, as you guys are familiar with, they put on KFC, they put on fried chicken, they put on that kind of stuff. So here's my thing. Now, I didn't even know this, look, because this is how little I know about food. I didn't even know that coating, some coatings anyway, was like cornflakes. Frosties and cereals. I didn't even know people use this for chicken, but they do. Some places do. But I know other places use different types of coating. They use batter and then they mix it in egg. I don't know what they do. I'm no chef. I'm no expert. All I know is if you use coating and you put it in the air fryer, it's okay. Yes, some of it's breaded, some of it's crumbs, some of it's cereal. It's a little bit of sugar inside it. There's a little bit of carbs in there. If you're on a keto diet, then don't do it, obviously. Use your brain. If you're on one of my low days, then don't do it. Use your brain. Just use plenty of other seasoning. Don't use the breaded seasoning, anything that's got sugars inside it. But in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, when you go out and something's air fried, well, not many things are air fried, but you get what I'm trying to say, and they use coating on there, chicken coating for whatever reason, it's okay, bro. It's not gonna derail your progress. Okay, that brings us to fried foods. And we just mentioned KFC. When you go out, are fried foods good for you? Now, I'm gonna talk about fried chicken because I've never really seen fried lamb. I've never really seen fried steak. So we're gonna talk fried chicken. Okay, so KFC fried chicken. No, not KFC, because KFC have a really weird combination of oil, the batter and the mix. It's very strange. It's very, very greasy. There's no need for it to be that greasy. But if you go and have fried chicken from anywhere, generally it's okay. Now, I'm not saying here that fried chicken is bad for you. Sorry, I'm not saying it's good for you, but I'm also not saying it's that bad. If fried chicken is all that's available, then you can have fried chicken. Now, I'm not saying you can have it every single day. Fried chicken is one of those things you should limit. Don't have it every single day, don't have it every single meal. I would not, even though I eat out every single day, I would not have fried chicken every single day. The one I have at the minute, if you guys are following me while I'm out in Thailand, it's not fried, it's like shallow fried with a little bit of coating on it. You see what I mean? So you've got to know when to kind of have it and when you can't have it. If you're really low percent body fat, like me, well, not really low, but do you know what I mean? Compared to the average guy, I'm good. I think so. Anyway, then you can have the fried coated chicken. And as your body starts to get a little bit fat, visually, you're like, okay, I'm going to back off this. I'm not going to have this anymore for a few more days, then you can have it again. So you've got to know when to have the fried chicken. It's not all that bad though. Don't think it's all bad. And again, going back into the oils, people, recently, I want to say recently, I think about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, all the oil thing came out. Have macadamia oil, have coconut oil, have this oil, have that oil. And you know what? It's kind of died down a little bit, gladly. It's died down a little bit, or from my circle anyway. It's just not essential, bro. And I'm not saying you should have cooking oil, you should have sunflower oil and seed oil and all this other stuff. But I'm also not saying go out and get too anal about it. Okay? Just use olive oil. That's good enough. When it comes to oil, olive oil is good enough. Simple. And then we come to the last one, which is sauces. Now, sauces. Sauces are, let's see how, okay, so there's two types here. There's like your tomato base, the Italians use. Then there's the curry base, which South Asians use. And there's also the curry based, which is the Chinese. They use the sweet and sour, and Thais use the Thai green curry. So you get what I'm trying to say. The Southeast Asians or the South Asians and all that, they kind of use a lot of sauces in their foods. Now, English people don't have a lot of sauces. They just don't really have it. It's the Italian stuff that has the sauce. Now, here's the thing with sauce. Yes, there's sugars in there. And sugars aren't great for you every single day, especially if you're on one of my diets and we're trying to increase insulin sensitivity. So we shouldn't be having sugar every single day. But is it going to derail your progress? Here's the thing. Not really. So if you were to have a curry, let's talk about Indian food, Pakistani food. Put the chicken aside. Yes, we know it's been cooked in the curry. You can still taste the curry. You still got a little bit of the curry. Put the chicken to the side. The bit that's already coated, eat that. That's it. I'm not saying have extra pot of curry. Eat that bit. Today I had some sweet and sour chicken. Actually, no, I didn't. I had chicken cashew nut, and they have this sauce on it. I put like the really soggy bit to the side. I pulled my chicken out. Now the chicken was still coated in the sauce. It's fine to have, no issue. Same with the tomato sauce for mainly like bolognese and stuff like that. If you're gonna make bolognese, just dry up the sauce a little bit, pull the meat to the side, and that is the sauces. Now we come to the other types of sauces, which is your condiments. So you have ketchup, mustard, all sorts of other stuff. My mind just went blank there. Chili sauce, sweet, what's that one? The Chinese one is really nice. Sweet chili sauce? Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. There's many. There's over 100 different selections of sauces. Nando's is a big sauce as well. Soy sauce, there's so many different sauces. I always say this to clients. Have between 2 to 3 sachet amounts per meal. Now, the sachets I'm talking about, I don't really have here anywhere. But you know the small sachets you get, or we used to get from the fish and chip shop, the small sachets, I don't know the amount of grams there is, but everybody knows what a small regular sachet is. Go to KFC, go to McDonald's and ask for a sachet. They'll tell you what a sachet is. That sachet, if you squirt one of those out, and you have 3 of those with every single meal, I don't care what sauce it is. I don't care if it's the highest sugar content sauce in the world. It's not going to derail your progress. So hopefully, guys, this video has cleared up a lot of stuff that you can do and what you are allowed to eat when you are out and about without derailing your progress. If this video gave you some value, please comment down below, like, and please subscribe.